Why aren't you having the fries? You look fine. Your weight is fine. Why don't you want this? This is their insecurity. Me not having the fries, me not having a second piece is about them second guessing their own choices. It's all because it's triggering their own insecurity. We hold true to our healthy eating habits. We have to understand that this is not about me. This is about them. You don't get triggered by other people's food insecurities, and then you can rock on.
Hello, welcome to Hustle with Aloha. I am so excited to be here at this time of year, sitting down with Manhattan's health coach, Brigitte Zeitlin, to have a conversation about staying healthy in spite of the holidays. Brigitte, welcome. Would you like to tell us a little bit about your background and what you do?
Absolutely. I'm so excited to be here. Thank you for having me. So, I am, like you said, Brigitte Zeitlin. I'm a registered dietitian and women's nutrition coach. I work with women ages 25 to 65 who are like on the go, juggling a lot of different balls in the air constantly, who want to take really, really great care of themselves. Women, they come to me to lose weight without calorie counting, without restriction, and without dieting, because I wholeheartedly believe that taking care of yourself and enjoying the foods you love get to go hand in hand. And that's the only way to effectively lose the weight you want, but also to easily keep it off for the long term. And that's the name of the game. I want you to lose the weight now, but I want you to keep the weight off forever. And so the only way we can do that is when we balance the foods that take care of you really well with the foods that you enjoy. So from the kale to the cookies, you get to have it all.
I love that. And it's so funny. It sounds like such common sense coming out of your mouth, but it is hard. And here we are, November, this time of year. Black Friday is looming around the corner. The holidays are lurking. I pulled this statistic, which I thought was pretty impressive, that 43% of Americans said that the stress this time of year in the holidays interferes with their ability to even enjoy them. So here we are, like
Totally.
late Q4. All Americans are stressed, right? But especially
Absolutely.
entrepreneurs and business owners, which is what this podcast is about. They're either like gearing up for a really busy time of year because maybe when they make most of their money, or if this is a slow time for them, they're like struggling to stay relevant and like maintain sales during this time of year. Whatever the situation, they've got additional stress than your typical American. And unfortunately, our healthy habits sometimes fall by the wayside. Bridget, thank you for letting me pick your brain on what we can do as entrepreneurs and small business owners to stay healthy and take better care of ourselves during this time of year. Do you take a different approach with your clients this time of year?
Absolutely. Such a great question. And so true. I think also something else that like contributes to the stress of it all is that everyone is like so happy, quote unquote, this time of year because the decorations and there's so many family events and there's all these holiday parties. All of those things just add more stress because sometimes maybe like we could have complicated relationships with people that are going to be at our holiday dinners. We might not really like love having to, if we're introverts, having to be at all these holiday parties can also add stress. So there's the work stress that maximizes during this time, like you pointed out. And then we also have the life stress that entrepreneurs have to deal with on top of the work stress. So it can be, I don't know if I can curse here or not, but it can be a cluster F of
Totally, you can curse.
it's
I
a
have that
total.
blanket setting on all of my podcast
Okay.
episodes.
It is a total clusterfuck of stress. So, how I coach my clients, particularly the entrepreneurs during this time of year, is to understand that there's a really big difference. So, what I do with my clients is we create healthy eating habits. I wholeheartedly believe that there is no healthy food or unhealthy food. There is a healthy habit and an unhealthy habit, right? It's not about if you like the pumpkin pie being healthy or unhealthy. It's about how much of it, how frequently you're having it, right? That's a habit versus, right, like a healthy habit versus an unhealthy habit. So with my clients, we create healthier eating habits. During this time of year, what I really try to focus on is that while our eating habit stays the same, understanding that our routine is going to be a little bit different, right? And allowing for that routine to be a little bit different. So if you're someone who typically you wake up really early and you go to the gym or you take a walk, you work out, and then you get into your work mode. But now, because work is so overwhelming, and because maybe you have a party at night, you wake up, you skip the workout, and you hit your email box earlier than usual. So the routines can be off. So understanding, what does your Q4 holiday tight time routine look like, first and foremost, and then if that means that you have to work out at 5 p.m. instead of 5 a.m., okay, great. If that means during this time, you're actually working out on Saturday and Sunday versus Monday, Wednesday, Friday, okay, great. Like, I think so often what makes us entrepreneurs successful is that we're really disciplined with our routine, and it can be hard to figure out that, like, some seasons, and again, that could be the actual season of the world, like the season of like fall, winter, spring, summer, seasons of our business, the ebbs and flow of our business, or seasons of our life, that through different seasons, our routine has to look a little bit different. So really anchoring into what what your eating habit or your workout habit is, and then zhuzhing it to fit a new routine. So an eating habit that I really encourage everybody who wants to lose weight and keep the weight off, is to eat consistently throughout the day. Generally, like, that's every 3 to 4 hours, because it's what keeps you energized. It's what helps to keep your brain focused and attentive. It's what helps you problem solve and be more efficient during the day. So so if that's the habit, to eat every 3 to 4 hours, the routine might be, well, now that you're waking up earlier and you're not working out, maybe breakfast is at 6 instead of at 7, right? So the routine, the time of day can shift a little bit, but the habit of you staying energized and focused from fueling your body with nutrition consistently, that stays the same. I don't know. Did I answer your question?
Yes. And
Okay.
it's funny. I'm hearing, like, literally yesterday, I went to that networking meeting that I saw you at, and I didn't get to work out yesterday morning. And I'm like trying not to beat myself up about it. I'm like, I could just do it Friday and then Saturday. And I think you really hit a nail on the head, is that as entrepreneurs and small business owners, we will bend over backwards for our customers and our clients and fit them in. But it doesn't have to be the expense of our own schedule. Like, we can fit
100,
ourselves into. Like, okay, we can't
100%.
do a 10 a.m. or whatever. Maybe we could do a 5 p.m., you know?
Exactly. Exactly. And I think something too that might need to be added to this Q4 routine is assessing, like, the night before, or like Sunday night, mapping out your week. Okay, so my coming week is busier than, it is in Q1 or Q2, whatever. Look at your week before, look at the coming week, and plug in your me time. And so your me time, maybe that's a workout in the gym, maybe it's a walk, maybe it's when you meal prep a little bit ahead of dinner time so that you have nourishing food waiting for you as soon as your day ends, versus first having to cook at 6 or 7 o'clock at night, right? If it turns out that you had a little, like, 30-minute break in the middle of your day, and you enjoy cooking, and if cooking, like, is something that relaxes you, it's one of my self-care routines. It really, really relaxes me. Right? Maybe you can do that for 30 minutes in between. Like, where can you plug in a little bit of you time to fill in with whatever would fill your cup most in those
I
moments
love
throughout
that.
that
It's
week?
such a good reminder. And again, we do that in our businesses, right? A lot of us are
100%.
an army of one, and we have to be clever. Um, I love the idea of meal prepping at lunch, or even making a little bit of extra dinner so you have lunch the next day instead of having to
100%.
make yourself lunch. Yeah.
100%.
That's really cool. So, do you have any, like, tips on the psychological challenge of staying loyal to, like, to stay devoted and loyal to our own healthy habits in the face of the temptations of the holidays? Maybe our favorite cookies or social obligations that are we're stressful and we're tempted to drink a little bit more than we might usually, or maybe in scenarios where we don't have control over the menu. What are
Yeah.
your tips on that?
Absolutely. This is such a juicy topic. And I have so many tips and tricks. I actually put them all together in a self-paced, do-it-yourself, like, on-demand video course. It's called Socially Fit, to help you
Love
stay
that.
fit during, like, your social life. That's available. You have lifetime access to it. You can find it on my website. Watch the videos in your own time. Take me on a walk with you. So you have me and my Long Island accent in your ear the whole time. But so a few things. Again, there is one of the healthiest habits we can be in, no matter what your health goal is. If your health goal is to lose weight, maintain your weight loss, if your goal is just longevity and energy, right? No matter what your health goal is, there's one universal habit that will always be your best friend, and that is planning. Right? It's true as the entrepreneur. It's true when we want to like have an amazing vacation. We want to see all the sites. We need to plan the itinerary. There's no like we need to plan. So if you are again, and you can do it Sunday night, you can do it at the start of every single individual day, whatever is more. You have to know yourself a little bit. Whatever feels like the most supportive way for you to map out your week. So so again, I'm a Sunday night girly, so I'm going to do it Sunday night and look at my whole week. So if I know, okay, I have an event Wednesday night, Thursday night, and then I'm out with my friends on Saturday night, that's 3 nights out, which means the other 4 nights I can cook. So what am I going to make? And I can like totally control all the ingredients that go into it. I know the amount of salt I'm going to use. I know the amount of olive oil I'm going to use, right? I can map out, I can batch, like you had mentioned, I could double up recipes and batch for lunches. I know 3 nights out, 4 nights in, what am I making my nights? And then on those days that I'm going out, if I know ahead of time what restaurant I'm going to, I'll be like, ooh, Saturday night, we're going for Italian. I'm definitely going to have the pasta. Wonderful. What does that mean for the rest of my Saturday? That means that I'm going to really, really look for a protein and a produce at breakfast. So eggs would be a great protein. And maybe I'm going to scramble it with some spinach, tomatoes, and mushrooms, the produce. And then for lunch, I happen to be a big salad person, so I'll go to Sweetgreen, I'll get a salad. But if you're not, you want, if you could have your leftovers from the night before, a stir fry, look for something that is going to be focused on protein and then a produce. Produce meaning a fruit or a veg. Because at dinner time, you're going to have what I call starch, but you, the general public, would refer to as carbs. You know you're going to have a carby dinner. Fabulous. So we want to be really, really conscious of the amount of carbs we're having throughout the rest of the day and save it for our dinner. So a little bit of planning goes a really long way. That's how you're able to like have the pasta without the scale really going up because you've managed it. You're not having toast, like your avocado toast for breakfast, which is a carb, not the avocado, but the toast. And then you're not having a sandwich for lunch, right? So more carbs, and then your pasta for dinner. It would overload your system and be too, what's the word I'm looking for? It won't give your body enough throughout any given day. We need protein and vegetables and fruit to give our bodies the amount of nutrition we need for energy, again, for focus, for thinking, for problem solving, for helping us to stay resilient to stressful times. So like that feeling of being hangry, right? That so frequently comes when we snap at people, it's because our resiliency is lower. We can't deal with stressful situations. We can't deal with other people because our resiliency is lower because we haven't eaten for a while. So making sure you're eating consistently throughout the day keeps your stress resiliency higher. So you're able to process and interact more comfortably and from a more grounded, calm state. And it also helps you to not so that way so if dinner is going to be more what I call soul nourishing versus body nourishing, we want the rest of your meals to be really, really body nourishing. So the protein and the produce at the other meals, and then the soul nourishing carbs, just at dinner time. When it comes to alcohol, which is also free flowing this time of year, which is great.
So
I
free
love,
flowing.
right? I love me a spicy margarita, like forever. And this time of year, I really do get into old fashions as well. But when it comes to alcohol, again, you want to plan it out. I think a really good, like a golden rule when it comes to alcohol is to give yourself a realistic cocktail cap. So, Saturday night with my girlfriends, a realistic cocktail cap for me is probably 3 drinks. 1 drink at the bar while we're waiting for our table, 1 drink with our apps. Maybe I'll have 1 drink towards the end while we're lingering and just catching up while so 3 drinks. If Wednesday night, I'm going to a networking event or a holiday party with like colleagues, coworker, people that I'm trying to mingle with, I'm not going to have 3 drinks. My cocktail cap is going to be 1, right? So and that's just me. Zero judgment. You pick your own cocktail cap. But what's really empowering about this is that knowing you pick your cocktail cap and then you keep it.
Ahead of
So
time.
ahead
You
of time,
pick it
you pick
ahead
it.
of time, not in the
Correct.
moment.
No, 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 no. 100%. Yes. Everything happens ahead of time. You pick it ahead of time and then you hold yourself accountable. And what that does is it builds self-trust that I can hold myself accountable to certain health habits that I'm trying to create for myself.
I
So
love that.
if I'm trying to be conscious of the amount that I drink, because alcohol, makes me sleep in the next day, I will miss my workout, or I won't. It will make me more sluggish. I won't be as effective in my morning meeting, right? Knowing how alcohol affects you, having a cocktail cap that you stick to versus being somebody who, well, I'm going to go, my cocktail cap is 1, but then, he suggested we get another round. And so now I'm going to have another round. It erodes your self-trust and it
That's
doesn't
really
feel great.
interesting.
Yeah. And I think self-trust, when it comes to holding ourselves accountable with everything, self-trust is a huge factor in that, trusting that you can do it. So have a cocktail cap, and then with your cocktail cap, no judgment on the amount, whether it's 1 or, 5, you do you, my friend. But for every 1 cocktail you have 1 full glass of water. This will help to slow down the amount that you're drinking, right? And you don't have to chug the water. Drink it slowly. You can make it sparkling with a lime and like trick people into thinking it's another cocktail, or you can keep it however you wish. But it will help prevent any next day sluggishness, next day brain fog, next day fatigue, all of those things that happen on the back end of us drinking. So for every full glass of water, for every cocktail you have a full glass of water.
I love that. So to recap,
Yeah.
set an intention ahead of time, whether that's Sunday, the morning of, or like before you go out, so that you're having a conversation with yourself when you're in a good headspace, not when you're having fun and the waiter's coming around and you're susceptible to suggestion. Also, if you set an intention about a cocktail cap, you enjoy that cocktail knowing that it's one of two or one of one or one of three, and I feel like you enjoy it more and you're not going to mindlessly drink it quickly and then accidentally order another one. And I love the encouragement to plan ahead. In my business, I have something I tell myself. I say, I'm the kind of person that plans ahead. So in the moment, I look amazing. So if you do that with your dieting habits and stuff, you plan ahead in the moment, you act as if the self that you want to be, right?
100%. Perfect. Beautiful recap. Fabulous. Wonderful summation. Way more succinct than I said it. But yes,
No, you're
perfect.
the expert. I
Perfect.
love it. And I love the way you're going into like the social situations, the emotions, the like self-talk and stuff like that. Speaking of drinking water so that your cocktails are offset, do you have any advice for the person who doesn't stick to their ahead plan and they have to be functional in the morning or they want to do that morning run? Do you have any advice on things they could eat or consume during the workout or the night before to help them maintain momentum in the morning?
Right. So, meaning if they drank too much
I didn't want to
specifically?
use the H word, hangover, but
Right,
yes.
right. Okay. Okay. Got it. Got it. Got it. I know
I
the
feel like that's common
sorry.
this time of year.
Oh, 100%. 100%. That's a great question. What I will say is that um, it is what I love to do with my clients. Why it's effective for the long term is because I don't teach my clients how to diet. I teach my clients how to live. And life happens in color. Life is not black and white. right? Life happens in color. And what that means is that I don't want to say in the gray because like that's not life is not gray. Life is full of
Especially with the
color.
holidays.
No, there's so much color. So, and that means that not everything is going to go as planned, right? Understanding that, having the flexibility of that. You know, when it comes to your health goals, your weight goals, what really matters is what's happening 80% of the time. So if you have a plan and you're able to stick to it, like, 80% of the time, the 20% of the time that like gets technicolor is not really going to make a dent because 80% of the time you know what you're doing, you're in control, you feel empowered, you're making empowered food choices. It's right, it's more up to you. The 20% technicolor, it happens to all of us, myself included, even as the expert, even as the dietitian. So what we want to do, first and foremost, we don't want to feel guilty about it. We want to understand that like life happens, not everything goes to plan. I drank more than I thought I would ultimately, or I ate less, and so the alcohol hit me harder, right? Like I had a smaller dinner than I
Yeah.
was expecting, or I skipped dinner because I thought there would be food at the event. There wasn't,
Right.
right? That happens so frequently. So it hit you harder, and so now you're a little bit hungover, or whatever word we're using instead of the H word. First and foremost, B vitamins. B vitamins, my friend. And I will say, I am always, always, always a proponent of food first. I want to supplement. We supplement, but we supplement to fill in the gaps, not to make up the total nutrition panel for you. So we always want to go food first. Foods that are high in B vitamins, that are really, really good B vitamin sources, would be avocado. So having that avocado toast for breakfast would be fabulous. Also because whole grains are a great source of B vitamins. So if your toast is a whole grain version, right? Whole wheat or whole grain with avocado, wonderful. It's like a 2 for 1. So B vitamins and whole grains, avocado, bananas are also a great source of B vitamins. So first thing in the morning, before you do anything, have a banana. It will also give you a little bit more energy because it's fruit and fruit has a little bit of sugar in it. So you'll get like kind of a boost. It will help to clear off some of the sluggishness. You could also do oatmeal because oatmeal is a whole grain, so there's really good B vitamins in that as well. Also coupled with magnesium, which could help calm down if you're feeling stressed or anxious because you have an early meeting and you're feeling a little bit hungover and like so the magnesium in the oatmeal will be really beneficial as well. Also, water, 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 water. I can't say it enough. And for it does not matter if you like sparkling, if you prefer flat, if you like tap, if you like bottled, it doesn't matter. It's all if you like it cold, if you like it hot, if you like it room temp, it does not matter. The more water you drink, the better you will feel. And that's true for the night before, which is why we always want to do a 1-to-1 ratio, like I talked about. But also have a full glass of water before you go to bed. That will really help as well. Something you could also do in the mornings, depending on your degree of hungover, pairing it with one of these foods that I suggested, one of these breakfasts, is you could do one of the hydration packets in your water. So the this is a supplement, right? I am hypercritical about supplement brands. The brands that I like most when it comes to the hydration packets. So the most popular ones are like Liquid IV, LMNT. Those aren't my favorite. I don't love the type of salt that they use. They use table salt, which is stripped of a lot of its minerals. We want to use a brand that has like a quality salt. So Himalayan sea salt, pink Himalayan sea salt, black Himalayan sea salt. So the brands that I like the most are Cure, Cure, or Superior. So get one of those packets, dump it in your water, mix it up. It'll give you a nice little boost also to cure
Love
that
it.
hangover.
Love it, love it, love it. So preemptively, hopefully your plan prevents you from slightly over drinking or accidentally over drinking, or who knows, maybe intentionally over drinking. But if you match your cocktail cap with a glass of water each, and then wake up and either have maybe like a whole wheat avocado toast or like a banana on oatmeal and maybe some hydration packet infused water with Cure or Superior. I think those are fantastic advice and tips to help someone seize the day if they are needing to maintain the momentum that's so required this time of year.
Absolutely. And I think frequently too, people think, I think it comes from our college days, no matter how far away from them we get, we can't shake the fact that when we're hungover, we're like, bacon, egg, and cheese. Bacon, egg, and cheese, bacon, egg, and cheese. Right. I need grease. I like the truth is you don't.
Apparently, yeah,
Yeah,
that's interesting.
the truth is it will actually cause more inflammation and make you more
Right.
lethargic throughout the day. What you do need in those moments, like I said, are the B vitamins, are the hydration. And I am not anti your bacon, egg, and cheese. It's just not going to give you what you're looking for in that moment. Have a bacon, egg, and cheese on, and like not to cure your hangover, just because you love it and you want to have it for Sunday brunch with your friends. Great, fine.
Right.
But
With
when
your
we're
spicy margarita.
right, perfect. But if when we're hungover, we are not looking for grease. We're looking for B vitamins and hydration.
Love that. And speaking of deliciously rich food, do you have any suggestions or ideas on how people can still enjoy the semblance of eating the delicious rich foods of the year without overindulging? Do you usually advise people to just dial back the quantity or the frequency, or do you have like some substitutions that are approximations of popular holiday foods that might scratch the itch without overloading your system?
Yeah, great question. So, like I said, all foods fit from the kale to the cookies. So, this time of year, they're the pumpkin cookies, right? Or the pecan pie. So, first and foremost, what I will say is that similar to going on a trip to, let's say, Italy, right? You're going this time of year, you're going to eat differently. You have more events, you have more dinners. There is a different cadence from like November to like through December, right? There's just a different from Thanksgiving through New Year's, those 6 weeks, it's a different social cadence than your norm. Understand that, give yourself the grace. You will probably, if you're eating out and about more than usual, you're going to gain weight. And that's not necessarily fat. It could be bloat because you're eating more restaurant meals, you're eating
And
more
salt.
food. Exactly. You're eating foods that other people are preparing. So they're cooking with more salt, they're cooking with different oils. Your body's going to retain water. You're going to feel a little bit more bloated. It will show up on the scale, it might show up in your genes. It's not true weight. It will come off. Don't get discouraged. Understand there's going to be a little bit more bloat. It's going to come off though. So give yourself the grace of knowing this is not my huge. And as soon as I get back to my huge, this is going to melt off me.
All right. You
Right.
heard it here. The professional
Yes.
has spoken. It's just fluff, people. It's just a
Exactly. It's just a
temporary
little,
winter coat.
exactly. It's just a little extra layer that it's gonna come off. So what I will and what I will say, what will really help here too, is when you plan out your week and you notice how many nights you're eating out, and that could be restaurant meals or, potlucks, parties, wherever you're going, any meal that you're not cooking, really go hard on the meals that you are cooking so that you can control the amount of salt. You can like depuff on the nights that you are doing you, right? That you have all the control over. When it comes to the treats, the indulgences, and the treats can be, and they could be sweet or savory. I happen to be a sweet girl, so for me, it's pumpkin pie. But if maybe for you at that Thanksgiving table, it's the stuffing, right? Like the indulgence can be sweet or savory. What matters wholeheartedly is your portion size. We as human beings feel far more satiated from a smaller amount of the real thing than more of the fake thing. We will
That is worth
feel,
repeating.
yes, we
We as
feel
humans feel far more satiated with a little bit of the real thing than a normal quantity, quote unquote, of the fake thing.
Yes. And I will say also a normal quantity. What is a normal quantity?
Touche.
Do you know what I mean? Because
Indeed.
if you think that the restaurant's plate that they give you is a normal quantity, that's not a normal
They're
quantity.
huge a
They're
lot of times.
huge. So
Yeah.
so understanding, so having more than you would, right? If you think, oh, I'm making a skinny pumpkin pie, so I could actually have more of it than I would normally, right? Um, that is not going to be nearly as satiating as having an appropriate portion size of the real thing. So you
Plus, if
will,
it's the skinny one, you just said, so you can have more of it. So if you eat
exactly.
more, then it's the same as if you just had
Yes.
the real
Yes. You're
thing.
trying, you're thinking you're tricking yourself, but you are also not really hitting the like you're not really satisfying your craving for the actual pumpkin pie. So you'll be able to keep your portion size in control better when you're having the real thing because it will be more satiating. You won't need as much of it because it will feel more decadent. Again, this could be sweet or savory, but it will feel more decadent. You will, to your point earlier, you'll look forward to it. You'll savor it. It will feel more exciting. It will feel
Indulgent
indulgent
and satisfying.
and
Yeah.
enjoyable. I think also something that happens too is we get so caught up in the food this time of year, which I get it. I became a dietitian because I love food, not because I hate it. And I work with clients who love food. The food is really the backdrop. The main star, the main star of this season are the people. So if you have family members that you enjoy being around, then spending time with them and connecting with them. If you do like the Friendsgiving thing and you're spending more time with your friends, you're traveling to see them, they're traveling to see you, you're getting together, focusing on your friends and that conversation. If you have a lot of industry events, focusing on making connections and talking to these people, let the food part of it be the supporting actor, and the connections and the conversations and the memories you're making, let that be the main role. Let that be the leading role for all of these events. And then you don't have to be so hyper focused on the food. And it's easier to manage your portion sizes when it's not the sole focus of your energy.
I love that. I mean, at the end of the day, we should be eating to fuel and nourish our bodies, not to be a slave of our taste buds, right? In
For sure.
theory.
For sure. And I
Um,
and also food tastes good. Again, we love food. And food can be connection, it can be memory, it can be tradition, which comes up this time of year. So while yes, so in terms of like a few food-based tips, I want you to have a smaller amount of the real thing than too much of the faux version. I also want you to focus on the connections that you're making, the conversations you're having, and I want you to overall look through, like, factor in the whole week and think, how many nights do I have potential indulgent meals? What's happening
yes.
throughout this entire week? And therefore, can I make next week a little bit more homebody based, right? Look at like the whole picture, because no one meal is going to make or break your health. No one meal is going to make or break your weight goals. No one meal. No one salad is going to drop 10 pounds. I promise you.
They
No
don't
one.
cancel each out in your
Right. No
stomach.
one, no one pumpkin pie is going to add 10 pounds on. So no one anything is going to make or break things. What's happening consistently over time? Again,
The
the
80%.
80%.
I love
Exactly.
that. And if you
That's
apply that to like, I don't know, a work week and there's 5 days, that would be like one day where you're like potentially not eating to empower yourself. It's not going to derail the rest of the week.
100%, 100%. And so knowing that, giving yourself the grace. And I think too, sometimes when we give ourselves the quote unquote permission to enjoy a meal, we usually end up eating less of it because it's not
Mm,
feeling like, oh, I'm doing something bad. I'm cheating on myself. And like, this is my only time
right.
because after I have this, I'm going to be super strict and I'm going
Right.
to
You're not like
eliminate everything.
experiencing guilt while you're trying to enjoy it and like trying to like
Exactly.
cancel that out, or even beforehand, like you order something and you feel guilty before it even gets to your table.
Exactly.
Speaking of, you mentioned something I really love about reminding yourself like what the joys are of the season. I pulled another statistic that I found really alarming but also encouraging, that 71% of survey respondents said that their biggest regret after the holidays, 71%, is that they didn't take the time to relax and enjoy the season. And if you have those opportunities to meet up with friends and reconnect with family members, like instead of going to lunch or going out to dinner, you could, I don't know, maybe get coffee and go for a walk or do something that where the main focus isn't eating. I love that suggestion of yours.
Absolutely. No, I love that's so powerful. And I think, again, like we know for the most part, depending on how old you are, we know the people in our life that fill our cup and we know the people in our life that drain our cup. This time of year, we're going to see all of them. So we are, right? So
So true.
so true. So if focusing on having being more present, enjoying the moment more, add in, look for ways to connect with the people that fill your cup. So like you said, taking a walk, maybe that means again, your routines could be a little bit different. So instead of you going to the gym solo Saturday morning, maybe you meet up with your best friend and you get coffee and go for a long walk, right? Depending on where you are in the world, you might have to bundle up more than other places, right? I'm in New York City, you're in Florida. So, right? But that will fill your cup and nourish you in a way that will feel more restorative heading into your work week. And look for that. And then also when you know you're going to be around people that might trigger you or stress you out, no matter where they're coming from, family, coworkers, colleagues, I should say, or a friend, quote unquote, frenemy type people, give your like give yourself a little pep talk going into that encounter. Give yourself a little pep talk. Remind yourself that this is a them issue, not a you issue. Do some box breathing. Like give yourself a little grace that will actually allow you to enjoy the overall encounter and the other people that are going to be there and not focus so much on the person that drains your cup or triggers you. Or like this time of year, there are so many what I call food pushers. No, have another piece of pie. No, no, have more
Mm.
stuffing. Oh, you're not taking
Yeah, because
seconds? No,
they
you
want
need
to feed
more.
you. It makes them
Right.
feel good.
Right, right,
So
right.
true.
And you're like, no, no, I'm doing me. I have the exact amount of pumpkin pie I want to have. I have the exact
Right.
amount of
You could always take
stuffing.
a piece to go and then chuck it in the,
You
the
could you could
trash
you could do that, or you can
or
use
save it
like
for tomorrow.
radical honesty. Like this is delicious. I'm good. I'm full. But thank you so much for making this. Right?
I
Like
love that. Radical honesty.
yeah, the little
Yes.
compliment sandwich, like have a few of those type of lines in your back pocket when you know you're going to be meeting up with somebody who either is a food pusher or they're just like a life pusher. They just like, they trigger you in
Yeah.
some other way,
You
right?
know, it's interesting how many years ago I was vegan for 10 years. And it's amazing how, like, your own food choices can be threatening to other people, even if you clearly don't care what they're eating. But just
Absolutely.
by stating your approach, they feel the need to defend theirs. So I like your idea of like having something to say ahead of time, because if you go to a party or something and then you're like, oh, I only want a little bit of pie because I'm trying to like watch what I eat, then everyone else who has a second piece of pie suddenly feels like they're being gluttonous and indulgent, you know?
Yes, yes, totally. And I think I talk about this in Socially Fit around when I talk about the holidays and stuff. Why people are food pushers, because we know when we think about it, right? I, I talk about her a lot in Socially Fit. My aunt, my mom's younger sister, she's a huge food pusher. I wholeheartedly know she's doing it because she loves me. I wholeheartedly know that one of her love languages is here, eat this, right? That's a okay.
Oh,
But because I know this, I go into anytime I'm going to see her with like what I call like a get out of jail free card. These like a couple of sayings that like I know I'm gonna say, and and it helps me not get like triggered in the moment or her feel weird in the moment. Um, people are they're anytime they're saying, "Oh no, have another this," or like, "Wait, do you want to share the fries? You're not going to have the fries. Why aren't you having the fries? You look fine. Your weight is fine. Why don't you want this?"
Mm,
Right? It's all because it's triggering their own insecurity.
that's what I was thinking.
It's
Yeah.
all triggering their own insecurity. And so whether they vocalize it and they're self-aware enough or they don't vocalize it, we as the person who is trying to create healthy eating habits and trying to hold true to our healthy eating habits, we have to understand that this is not about me. This is about them. This is their insecurity. Me not having the fries, me not having a second piece is about them second guessing their own choices. And maybe they vocalize it, maybe they internalize it, whatever they're doing, it is a them thing. We just have to when we say, "No, I'm good. I'm not going to have a second slice." If they keep asking and eventually we give in and take a second slice, even if it's to go home, what we're teaching them is if you ask
Mm.
me more often, if the more you ask me, the more likely I am to give in to
Ugh,
you.
you're so true. So true.
So if we
You're
can,
so spot
so
on.
yeah, so if we have a get out of jail free card, we just throw it down on the table. We say our line because you can communicate anything as long as it's with kindness, right? It's
Mm.
because it's always the delivery, it's not the words. So kindly, calmly be like, "No, this was delicious. I'm so full. Thank you for having me," or whatever the version is that you want, and know that like they're pushing it because one, they're insecure, two, because they care for you. Sometimes it's both, sometimes it's one or the other, but like it's a them thing. You hold true to you, you will feel, and then that builds your self-trust in the fact that you don't give into food pushers, you don't get triggered by other people's food insecurities, and then you can rock on.
I love that. And I think this like circles back to your advice to like set an intention for yourself in advance. And if you know that you're going to be in these scenarios and you have those things to say ahead of time and you have a conversation with yourself about, healthy boundaries with people and reminding yourself that it's not necessarily you that's under scrutiny.
Exactly.
Because you don't agree with their suggestion, it forces them to reevaluate their viewpoint. And that, people don't like that, especially if they're not realizing it's happening. So I think it's good to remind ourselves that this is our own food journey, our own commitment, our own way of doing things, and just be like polite but firm. That's great.
Exactly. 100%. It's most of the time. Again, we can go back to this like 80-20 rule. 80% of the time, they're thinking about themselves. 80% of the time they're like it's something about them, and 20% of the time, if that, most likely 10, it's actually a you related thing. The
And I
majority of the
think,
yeah,
sorry,
I don't know. Go for it.
your suggestion, your reminder that like if you give in once in a while, really what they're learning is that because the obvious outcome is that you're going to eat more or whatever
Right.
it is, right?
Right.
And
Right.
they're just like, oh, this is the kind of person that I just have to keep pushing. And so that's the solution, not to like not
Yes.
keep.
Exactly. And they might not, and this is not to say that they're doing it maliciously or
No,
or
no.
intentionally. They don't
And
even
sometimes
know.
it's social
Yeah.
or like
Right.
cultural, where people are like,
100%.
please do this. You have to like try 3 times before they say yes. And that's like the
Yes.
way it works in some people's
Yes. And
circles.
so, and
Yeah.
it's not, and it's all coming from a good place. They're
Of
trying to offer
course.
you things
Yeah.
from
They
a
want to
good
take care
place.
of you, feed
Yeah.
you. Like those
Right.
are like the most basic, loving, nurturing,
Exactly. They want to make sure you're having
desires.
fun and then,
It's
right? Like you're
true.
going to come back
Yeah.
next year. So,
Right.
so they're not doing it from a place of malintent. They're
No,
not doing it
yeah.
because they're aware of their insecurities that like they don't, the majority of people don't know that I want you to share the fries with me because then it makes me feel more comfortable about me eating the
Totally. That's
fries.
not happening in their
That's
head.
not happening at
No.
all. But that's what's actually
No.
playing out, but they don't know that. So you
That's
have to you
speaking.
have to know that.
Yes. Yeah.
And we teach in every scenario, whether it's with our clients, whether it's with our romantic partners, our friends, our parents, every scenario, we teach people how to treat us.
Yes.
And so
I
when you say
wholeheartedly believe that.
so when you say on the third ask, yes, you know what, fine, pour me another drink, we've just taught that person, you ask me 3 times, you get the response you
You're
want.
a 3-time person.
Exactly. Exactly. Exactly.
Speaking of fries, do you have any menu hacks? Like sometimes I find myself out to that Italian dinner that you alluded to earlier, where I'm like, okay, I've been eating salad and protein all day because I know that I'm going to have some pasta. And pasta doesn't mean one serving, which is like a cup, let's be real. Pasta is going to be probably 3 cups, right? Or something like that. And I'm scanning the menu and I want something that's like, what are the things on the menu that are like some of the worst that we don't realize? Or what are some like hidden gems that are actually kind of healthy, but you wouldn't think they would be on the menu? Do you have any tips on
Yeah.
that?
So I think anything on the menu can be made healthy. Like because again, I don't believe that foods are healthy or unhealthy, but there are some ways, there are some like marketing things that happen on the menu that we don't like traps that we could fall into that we want to be. And when I call them traps, because if you're choosing the French fries, I want it to be because you want French fries, not because you thought you were getting something else, right? And this is what showed up, or because you think you're making a more nutrient dense option and this showed up. I
That's what
want,
I'm talking about.
yeah,
Yeah.
I want you to be wholeheartedly in. Like, yeah, I'm having the hamburger. Obviously, I'm going to get the fries, right? Like, right, I'm getting the salad with the grilled chicken, and my friend and I are going to share the fries, right? Like, I want it to be an empowered food choice, not a default food choice. So, things to look for on the menu. Anytime you see something that says coated, crispy, crunchy, battered, these things mean fried.
Mm.
When it says so, anything that says coated, it's fried. Keep that in mind. And so, if you're going to choose it, the the coated whatever salmon, know that that's going to be fried salmon, right? The outside it's going to be right. It's usually like the pistachio crusted. Da, 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 da. They've fried the pistachio crust onto this item.
Yes, how else would it be there?
Right.
That's a really good
So,
point.
right. So, and so it's not about whether you choose it or not choose it. You decide.
Just be aware.
It's about you
Yeah.
knowing, you making a conscious choice of like what this item actually means. So, coated, crispy, battered. Obviously, if it says fried, it's fried. Those are the thing. Those are some of those things. The other thing is, want you to choose like look for. So, something I encourage my clients to have continuously is protein and a produce. I think, right? So if this is not, if you're not going to get the pasta, you're not at the Italian restaurant, you're not going to get the pasta. You're looking just like, where do I start on this menu? What am I looking for? Always look for your protein source first. So are you doing the fish? Are you doing the steak? Are you doing the chicken? What, right? Do they have a fabulous bomb like lentil dish because you're vegan and you want to do the lentils? Where is your protein coming from? And then assess where you can zhuzh in some vegetables. So if you're getting the salmon, does that come with anything? Does it come with a cauliflower or broccoli? Does it come solely on its own and you have to, where is it coming? Like where are the vegetables coming from? And then look to make your appetizer the veg or to add a side dish. Vegetables love to hide out in the side dish section of the menu.
I agree.
That's where they love to hide out. And when you're adding in the veg, I would love for your veg to not be fried.
Not be
So
battered, crunchy,
yeah,
crispy, or crusted.
exactly. So not do the fried Brussels sprouts, do the straight up
Right.
green beans, right? Or if they have sautéed Brussels sprouts or fried Brussels sprouts, do the sautéed so that you get more nutrition bang for your buck, right? If you want something fried, do the French fries. Like, but get the nutrition from the Brussels sprouts. So look for the side dishes. That's where most of the veggies hang out. What I could also tell you is that for the most part, again, I live in New York City, so this is very, very common, but I'm going to go out on a limb and say that with your community, this is also going to be very common. Ask for modifications to any dish. I promise you that if you do it like if you use your pleases and your thank yous, you will not be the most annoying person in the restaurant. I guarantee it. I
I've
guarantee,
learned after being vegan for 10 years, I learned how to be very kind about it.
yeah.
I'm no longer vegan, but if you ask nicely, people really don't mind. Yeah,
Yeah, and I guarantee you are not the most annoying person. You are not the one making the
it's
most
true.
annoying modification. I guarantee it on any given night, as long as you're using your pleases and your thank yous, you are not the most annoying person in that room.
That's
100%.
funny. What are your favorite modifications?
Oh, so I love me some fish tacos.
Yes.
But I want my fish grilled, not fried. So I always ask. So when they say crispy fish tacos, that means fried, as we just learned, right? Battered mahi mahi, that means fried. So whenever I see fish tacos on a menu, I say, can I have them grilled? I always do that. I also, in general, when I'm going to have I love pasta. I love having, again, I call it starch. Most people call it carbs. Um, when I love my carbs. I want my carbs to come from my pasta or my pizza. I don't want my carbs to come from the croutons in my Caesar salad. I think
That's
it's a
a really
waste.
good thing that people forget all the
Yeah.
time.
I think it's a waste. So I'll take them out, right? I'll ask for them not to happen on the plate. I also same thing goes for like the bread basket. I want to
Oh
have the
my God.
pasta, right? Like the pasta will always be
Or the cocktails. Yeah.
yeah. The pasta
Something worthwhile.
yeah, the pasta or the pizza will always get me going more than the bread basket. So,
Yeah.
but there are people who are the reverse. And that's okay. You do you. But so if you're someone who's like, this place makes their own fresh bread every day. I love their bread basket. Fabulous. Go there, enjoy the bread basket, but then maybe you're going to do the salmon and the broccoli for dinner.
Right. But be conscious of it. Plan
Be conscious
ahead.
of it.
Yeah.
And I don't hate carbs. I love carbs. The thing with carbs is that they take up a lot of space in your stomach, which means they make less room for the protein and the produce. So, which is a-okay. We just want information. The more information you have, the more empowered food choices you can make. So the carbs will take up more space. So if you're
Yeah.
going to have so if you're going to have the bread basket, it's going to take up a lot of space. Be conscious if like then if you're making up the rest of that room with like if your main course is going to be the pasta, we have very little space to fit in any protein, any fiber or produce. Um, would I so act accordingly. Pick one place where you're gonna enjoy your carb, whether it's the bread basket or the main course, right? Pick one place, or if it's your appetizer, whatever. Pick one place and then fill in the gaps, fill in the other parts of that meal with a protein or a produce.
Smart. Once again, planning. I love it. I am a
Yeah,
planner
everything.
myself, so
Everything comes down to planning. And
yes.
I
It
will
gives you
say,
freedom
yeah,
and reduces
100%.
your stress. Yeah.
And I will also say that depending on where one is with like their weight loss goals, so if you're just trying to maintain, you're really happy and you're trying to maintain. If you're actively trying to lose weight, if weight loss isn't your goal, but like you have other health goals, wherever you are with your goal, at the beginning of it, planning is going to feel like a heavier lift. It's not going
Mm,
right. Like it is going, you're going to have to think through your food choices a little bit more. That doesn't mean being restrictive. It means thinking through them, planning them ahead, a day ahead, the morning of, right? The more planning you do, the like more default mode it becomes. You will not always be such a hyper planner when it comes to your eating habits. You will be in the beginning because you're trying to
hmm.
create and establish healthier eating habits again to meet whatever your goal is. But then it becomes just like your default mode. And it doesn't
Totally.
feel, and like it gets
That makes
easier and
sense.
easier. So even though I'm talking a lot, so if you're not a planner, like the two of us are, but if you're not already a planner, understand that you're going to be an intentional planner and it's going to take up more bandwidth than usual, and then it's going to not feel like it's taking up so much bandwidth. It's just going to happen more default, more naturally along the way, the more you practice.
And I think the hacks that we're sharing are helpful with that because if we think about the busy entrepreneur, the busy small business owner that's like going into the holiday season and they're like, "Oh my God, these girls, they want me to like have a plan and stuff." Do you have any
Yeah.
like go-to I don't know. I'm really into think bars and built bars when I am like absolute. I have no time. It prevents me from eating crackers or like something that is not as valuable and they're high protein. Do you have any brands or meal prep or things that people could keep like in their desk or their purse or something like that that you find is a good emergency thing so that you're eating every 4 hours and not crashing or reaching for the convenient thing, which might not be the most helpful for your
Abs-
food goals.
yeah, absolutely. So ideally, this like if you're eating every 3 to 4 hours, what that would look like is you're having breakfast, you're having lunch, you're having an afternoon snack, you're having dinner. That's like the general cadence, versus breakfast, snack, lunch, snack, dinner, snack, right? Planning out, you're trying to structure the majority of your days, again, 80% of the time, breakfast, lunch, snack, dinner. So, two things. The first is that if you are working from home and like you have, or you are set up in an office where there's like a fridge situation, the human body feels more satisfied and satiated when we eat whole foods. So the apple with the nut butter, right? The apple with the cheese stick. I'm using apples because they're in season now, but like the
Mhm.
apple with the handful of almonds or cashews or pistachios, whatever, whole food options. If you prefer you can swap out my apple for whatever fruit you prefer, like half a cup of grapes, a banana, berries, what have. So whole food items as like your snack will always satiate you more. When we are on the go, there is nothing better than the bar, right? It doesn't have to be refrigerated. It could stay, if you don't have it today, it can stay in your bag for tomorrow, right? It can live in your office, desk. My favorite bars are, and when I say favorite bars, what I look for, there are three things I look for in a bar. The first thing is, are the ingredients, the first three ingredients, are they foods? So an almond, a cashew, are they a nut, an oat? Even if it's chocolate, right? Like, is it a food on its own versus a chemical or a blend of some type? So one is the first three ingredients. Are they foods? The second thing I look for is how much protein and fiber is in this item. To fill you up, to be satiating, I'm looking for at least 3 grams of protein and at least 3 grams of fiber. The other thing I'm
Okay.
looking for is how much total grams of sugar are happening in this item. To give you a reference point, Snickers bar, obviously candy, we know it. It's not pretending to be anything else. A Snickers bar, the original, the OG Snickers bar, has 18 grams of sugar. Fine, great, it's candy, it's supposed to. A lot of these healthy bars will have the same amount of sugar, meaning they are candy dressed up in a fancy costume, right? We're coming
Totally.
off Halloween. So they're dressed up in a fancy, fancy Halloween costume. So look for, what I want is your total grams of sugar to be in the single digits. That's what we're looking for there. And then overall, 4 bars, I don't count calories, but I do think they could be a good like reference point when it comes to judging what would be a meal replacement, a snack, a meal versus like a snack. So in general, a snack, so any like bar or total food, like if you're pairing together whole fresh foods, the snack should be between 200 and 250 calories. Some of these bars are actually meal replacements, and so they'll have 350 or 400 calories, and you're having the entire bar thinking it's a snack when really you've now just had 4 meals, right? You had breakfast,
That's a
lunch,
lot.
your snack, which should be smaller, is actually a full meal now. So just for like a general guideline, your meals can be more. Your meals could be 400, 500, 600 calories. Again, I'm not counting them. I'm
But
not
it's a meal, not a
encouraging.
bar.
Right. I'm not encouraging you to count them, but I do want you to understand that a bar, if you're using it as lunch, yeah, then you're going to want a more caloric bar. If you're using it as a snack, which is how I think bars should be used, again, because I'm always
They're
promoting whole
not
fresh
filling
foods.
enough to be a
Yeah.
meal, let's be real.
Then we're looking for like no more than 250 calories per bar. So that's what we want
Okay.
to look at a little bit. It's a little nutrition label 101, but that's what we want to
Love
look
it.
for. That's what we want to
It's
look for.
really important for people. And we
For
can,
sure.
all this information is available to us on Amazon. You can even ask ChatGPT. You can put these requirements in and say, suggest something for me.
Yeah, I can tell
So,
you right now, three bars that I love
okay.
are the mezcla bar. They have so many different flavors. I am partial to the almond butter and the hot chocolate one. And the hot chocolate, it's spicy. It's a little spicy. I love it. Mezcla bars. I also really love midday squares. These are sweeter bars. They'll both have chocolate in them. If you are more of a savory girly, 88 Acres makes really good savory ones. I'll throw in a bonus fourth. Aloha. Ah, Aloha bars are
I am
really, really
familiar with
good.
those. Yeah.
And they also have a ton of different flavors, so you can pick your poison.
Love that. Okay. So, to recap, Brigitte Zeitlin, best snacks on the go ideally is like a real piece of produce and some sort of protein. Nuts lend themselves really well to that because they're portable and they don't get squashed and stuff like that or need to be refrigerated. However, if you're like truly on the go and you have to resort for a bar, look for the first three ingredients to be real foods. Protein and fiber content, at least 3 grams each. Total sugar, single digits. And then I'm just going to say, let's be real. A bar really shouldn't be a meal, but if it is, it is. But it should be probably like 250 calories or less. And I'll share links to your top four favorites. I think people are really
Awesome.
going to appreciate that. I know I
Yeah, yeah,
do.
yeah. Yeah, great.
Awesome. And I noticed on your LinkedIn profile, I just have to ask you about this. You made some statement that you are helping high achieving women lose weight without dieting. I love that it acknowledges that the diet word is like something that nobody really wants to hear when it comes to
Mm,
eating. And am I picking up on something intentional here? Because you've mentioned a few times the psychological aspects of eating. What would you call it if it's not dieting? What's your favorite term
yeah.
for
So
intentional eating?
absolutely. So I like to say I don't teach people how to diet, I teach people how to live because my goal, you don't need me necessarily to lose weight. You could lose weight. The thing is that whatever you do to lose the weight, you have to stay doing to keep the weight off. So, if you're losing weight by restricting your carbs, then you have to keep your carbs out of your life to keep the weight off. If you lose weight eating the carbs, then you get to continue to eat the carbs and keep the weight off. Right? So a lifestyle means you reach your goal now and you keep it long term. A diet is inherently temporary. You are on a diet, you are off a diet,
That's
right?
interesting.
It is
Yeah,
in, and I will say that for people who are chronic dieters, they're chronic dieters for a reason. They're constantly dieting. They're always dieting. There's always a diet. Like they're either on it or they're off of it, but they're going back on it. They're switching diets. They're doing a different diet. Um, it will never if we're and diets come with food rules. They don't teach you eating habits.
right.
So,
And they're
right?
not final. Like it's not like you owned an item, like you owned a basket of fat and then you got rid of it and you're like, "Oh, it's gone." It's more like a garden where you like weed it and that's just going to come back if you let it go again, right? It's like
So
a
that's what I'm talking about with like whatever you do to lose the weight. So if you're dieting to lose the weight, right, whatever you're doing to like cut those weeds down, you have to keep doing to keep those weeds gone, right? So if you can lose weight eating the foods you love, understanding how to include pasta into your day, how to have it for your dinner, how to eat pancakes for breakfast and still lose weight, how to have an enjoyable holiday season and keep the weight off, right? Putting on your holiday dress, feeling really great, looking in that mirror, right? Zipping up your pants, being like, I look awesome. I can't wait to go to this holiday party. That that is like that's the vibe I want you to have forever. So,
I love
and when
that.
we think about forever, it's the exact opposite of a diet because a diet is inherently temporary. We're on it, we're off it, we're on it, we're off it, we're on it, we're off it. A lifestyle moves with you. It's flexible, it's relatable to your routine, and it moves with you in life. So that's why dieting is restrictive. I also, and like, I just don't, weight loss does not have to be restrictive. It has to be intentional. You have to plan, right? Planning
You're
is
right. The
intentional.
planning again,
The planning,
yes.
right? It has to be thoughtful.
Hmm.
Nothing happens without thought or intentionality or planning, right? And again, like your community knows this better than anybody. Nothing gets you over the finish line. Nothing moves the needle in your business without you intentionally trying to move that needle. Um, but but what I find is that my clients that come to me who have been chronic dieters, what at the end of our time together, what they always say to me is, "This was so easy. Like losing weight has never felt this easy." And that's because there
That's
is no
amazing.
restriction, right? Because I'm teaching you eating habits that then become your new lifestyle so that the losing the weight is easy and the keeping it off is even easier. So
Yes.
often people,
Yes, Bridget.
when
Preach.
you diet, you lose the weight, but you rarely keep it off,
Right.
right? So
And
then
it
you have
also
to,
feels like punitive. Like you're kind
yeah,
of punishing yourself. Like this is like boot camp that you're putting yourself through, and there's going to be an end to
100%,
it.
a
But it
hundred
needs to be
percent,
sustainable.
a hundred
It's
percent.
so funny. We're talking about, making it easy and sustainable. And like, I mean, it's a full circle, beautiful moment because that's why I started Hustle with Aloha. Once entrepreneurs get over the insane push of like all the energy that's needed to like get their business up and running, the idea is not to like maintain that psychotic pace. The idea is to like learn hacks, learn systems, get organized, plan ahead so that you can have that sustained like running of your business and living to live, not just living to work.
Yes.
And we talked a little bit about self-love and self-care, and this is the time of year where we're like gifting and people are stressing out, like trying to make a special moment for other people, right?
Mm,
What's the perfect gift? So maybe they're overspending, and they're all trying to like create these moments and worrying about it. But I think the radical honesty that you talked about with yourself could be maybe giving yourself the gift of like self-care this holiday season is one that
mm.
will give to you and like everyone around you, you know?
Yeah, I love that. That's so beautiful.
And it's hard to do all by ourselves, which is why you exist. And if somebody wanted to like work with you for the holidays or even maybe after listening to this podcast and going through the holidays with a little bit of your advice, they're like, "Man, that she was one smart high fiber, low sugar cookie. I would like to I would like to work with her." What does that look like? How can people work with you?
Absolutely. So there are a few ways we can work together. Like I said, that I have a self-paced program, Socially Fit. We'll walk you through the entire like social season. I also talk about traveling and all the things that come with socializing, happy hours, dinners out, your girls' nights, your date nights, all the things. So that's available on my website, and you can download that and have access to that for life. There are the other two ways you can work with me if you want some one-on-one time is my group program, Radical Reset. We kick off in January, so just in time for your New Year's resolutions to help you establish really, really nourishing eating habits that will help you lose the weight, think of stress out about food a lot less, and feel so much better in your body. So, Radical Reset, we kick off in January. You can email me or you can click the link in my website and sign up. It's such a fun program. It's 8 weeks long. I'm finishing up I run it 3 times a year, and we're finishing up the post summer reset now. The women in it, we're on week 7. They've lost 10 pounds, 12 pounds, 15 pounds, 20 pounds. So, and they're going to keep it off because they have habits now. So that's fabulous and amazing. If you are someone who's like, I don't do groups, I want you, Bridget, all to myself. I want all the personalized tips and tricks and nutrition tools that are going to work with me. Then I have my VIP one-on-one program, and you can click the link on my website where it says VIP one-on-one. And what happens there is you and I set up, you answer a couple of questions, a little questionnaire. We hop on a complimentary Zoom call to talk through your health goals so I can understand a little bit of what you're looking for, where you're starting, where you want to end up. And I can assess if I would be the best perfect fit for you. And if I am, we'll rock and roll. And if I'm not, I'll refer you in another direction and help you get on your way there.
That's amazing. You really have like put together a smorgasbord, no pun intended, of like options for people. I don't know what it
Yeah.
is with me and the bad
Yeah,
puns
I
today.
want, I want women. So I should also say I work exclusively with women. My group program is all women, Radical Reset. If you have some fabulous gentlemen in this community that want to work with me one on one, we would hop on that complimentary Zoom call and suss out if it's a good fit. But um, I really want you to be able to like take care of yourself and have the nutrition. There's so much nutrition BS out there, like so much. Um, like there's a lot of I say this frequently in this networking group where you and I met. Like there's a lot of nutrition knowledge, but there's not a lot of nutrition wisdom.
Yes.
And there's a really big difference between being wise about what's going to work for you and how to implement that into your day to day and just like Googling information. Having the knowledge and having the ability to integrate it into your life are not the same thing,
Right.
right?
I
Like,
mean, this is why when you have a health problem, you can Google it and freak yourself out with WebMD, but you should probably go see a doctor because
right.
this is what they do.
Exactly, right? Like there's a big difference between quote when it comes to weight and health, there's a big difference between quote doing all the right things and doing all the right things for you. You are your own special snowflake, my friend, right? So we want to maximize that. We want to optimize that. We want to lean into that. Like
Right.
your nutrition needs to be the right fit for you. So so I have a couple of different places for people just to like plug in and get the right information, understand what it means to know their body, know their nutrition, know what their body needs, and to feel great once they make those changes.
I love that. And if people just want to invite you into their day-to-day lives, I know that you're really active on Instagram and LinkedIn too, so they can
I
follow
would
you on
love that.
Instagram and get your little insights here and there.
A hundred
Um,
percent.
I
Oh,
love,
also,
sorry.
no, I was gonna say I Instagram is my jam. I love it. I'd love to hear from you on it. Like if you start following me, send me a message. I'd love to say hi and connect more with this amazing community here. I also, in terms of like, I know I mentioned a couple of bars that I really like. I have an entire like wellness shop on Amazon, which I'll
Oh,
send you that link because
yes.
I've done all the like legwork for the snacks behind the scenes. So you can just click this link and know that all the bars, all the snacks that I've listed there, they're all BZ approved. They're all going to have the right amount of fiber, the right amount of protein, the right amount of sugar, and you can just like have fun shopping that aisle.
I love that. That
Doing
is
that for you.
so valuable, especially I'm an Amazon girl. It's easy. You can look at the reviews, you get all the data there. You're not like at the store beholden to like the 8 options that they have. So I will definitely be
Right.
checking that out. I'll make sure that your website, your socials, and that and everything are in the show notes. And is there anything that we didn't talk about today that you were kind of hoping that we would touch on before we wrap things up?
I would say one thing. No, I think we touched on everything. But one little tip I could give you too is that for you and for the community and like what I tell my clients is that when things are feeling stressful or overwhelming or like your usual routine is like falling to the wayside, think of three non-negotiables. If you can anchor into three wellness non-negotiables a day, from your wider basic routine, if you can anchor into just three of them, committing to three of them, it will help you feel more connected and more tethered to your self-care routine, to how you like to show up for yourself on a daily basis, even when life gets stressful. So a few wellness non-negotiables you can pick from. These are off the top of my head, but there are many based on what your current wellness routine looks like. But making sure you get fresh air for 20 minutes a day, right? Or committing to your movement routine. So whether that's in the gym or taking a walk, whatever. Um, if you take supplements, making sure you take your supplements every day, right? Making sure you have breakfast every day, making sure that you don't skip out on your afternoon snack because of meetings or work deadlines, right? So these are various wellness non-negotiables that if you can anchor into, it doesn't feel like you have just totally derailed from your overall routine during a more stressful time.
I love that because it's so easy to like us planners to like in the moment be ambitious about this is all the things I'm gonna do. And then like of the 80 things, it's so easy to skip them and then you beat yourself up about it. And then it
Yes.
could, you're like, why bother? What are your, if you don't mind me asking, what are
Yeah.
your three daily non-negotiables?
My three non-negotiables come into play for me when I'm traveling and I'm not in my routine or when I am going through like a super stressful time. So those, and they're not always the same, but my go-to ones that typically that like are more that happen, I would say 80% of the time what I pick is I always take my supplements. I always move my body. So sometimes it's not depending on where I am and how stressful I am or the type of vacation I might be on. Sometimes I'm able to take a 3 mile walk. Sometimes I'm able to take a 5 mile walk. Sometimes I'm only able to be outside for 15 minutes. So the timing might look different depending. But I'm always walking outside, my movement outside, my supplements, and then I always have a protein packed breakfast. Those are my usual go-tos. Again, if I'm traveling different places, they might look a little bit different, but those are my general ones.
That's awesome. And I think that is a wonderful way for us to end this, to encourage people to pick three. I know I will be.
Yeah.
Um, well, Bridget, thank you so much. And I
Thank
hope you have a
you.
wonderful holiday
Oh
season.
my gosh. Thank you so much. And I hope you have a wonderful holiday season.
Me too.
I'm excited to connect with your community and to hear all of their fabulous wins from integrating some of these tips.
I love it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
See you later.
Bye.
Bye.
That's all for this episode of Hustle with Aloha. Thank you so much for spending a few minutes of your day with me. If you found value in our conversation, the biggest way you can say thank you and ensure more episodes are made is to hit subscribe right now and leave a quick rating or review on your listening platform. It helps others discover the show, and it's the single best way to help me on my mission to inspire others to hustle with Aloha. This is your host, Alicia of Alicia Nagel Creative, signing off. I'm so grateful to have spent these minutes together. I'll see you next time. Aloha.